If you're using select star in your queries, you might be pulling way more data than you need to. And that might result in getting grumpy calls from your TBAs, as it might have cost implications. Let me show you why that matters. You might be writing something like this: select star from table name, right? And honestly, this makes sense. It's the fastest way to load everything, especially when you are exploring a table for the first time. But this is not always a good idea, especially when your table is large. For example, you're loading big fact tables. And that's because when you run select star, the database has to scan and return all columns and all rows. That can slow down your query, use more compute resources, which in turn increases cost in some environments. And in real-world systems, this is exactly how people end up running heavy queries without even realizing it. In some cases, this can actually impact shared systems. And that's when you might get a message from your database admin asking what you just ran, right? So a general rule of thumb that I always use is only use select star when you are sure it won't be expensive. Otherwise, be intentional about what you query. For example, you can use a better approach by limiting the data that you load, right? Instead of loading everything, start with a small sample. You can do that by using the limiting clause, such as in MySQL, you can use limit, or in SQL Server, you can use top. And then you can specify how many rows you want to load. This lets you explore the data without pulling the entire table. Another thing I usually do is check the structure first. For example, I use a query like this. What this does is it basically helps me understand what columns exist before even writing the query, right? Another thing I usually do is to be explicit. Write only what you need and then apply filters to get a sample instead of loading everything. So for example, you want to select customer ID and then order date and amount from a specific table. Then you can apply a filter on date to only load data for a specific date. This reduces the data scanned, improves performance, and eventually makes your query clear. So this is not just about performance. It's about how you think about data. Don't just pull everything. Ask yourself, what do I actually need from this table, right? Being intentional with your queries is a small habit, but it has big impact, especially when you're working with real data. After this video, I hope you'd be more intentional about using select star, or at least use it sparingly. Thank you for listening.